So what's then the antidote or that disconnect that exists?
Telling the truth and being loud about it. Like when I hear people and I see Jews all the time and they're just like, I'm afraid to speak out. Well, that's how the caliphate happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The beginning of erasure.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Like that's how like we erode. Like the Jews for Zohran that are out there. Like it's that mentality that are just like, we're just kind of like, let's try social. Like, and they're afraid. They don't want to be attacked by the mob, right? Like it's that mentality. That's how we end up erasing all of these ideas that have given our lives so much freedom and equality.
But to take that idea one step further, so how do we make the masses in the middle who at the moment are not making that connection with what's going on in Israel and what's happening around across the West?
Yeah.
How do you resonate with them for them to understand that this matters to them? Because a few years ago, you saw with what was happening in Afghanistan, like the average person cared about that.
Yeah.
They were abhorred to see the treatment of women and their rights being stripped away from them. And there was so much outcry about that in Australia, I can say, right?
Yeah.
But now there's a complete disconnect with what's happening in the Middle East.
Yeah.
How do you cut through for the average person who thinks they have no skin in the game but actually does?
But you do have skin in the game. So it's like me. Do I have the ability to change the world like that?
Yeah.
Obviously not, but I have the ability to do my part.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, if you are someone who is figuring out your career and you really care about these values, go be an activist, go be an influencer that's promoting these values and getting the truth out there and do your part to make each fact at a time go viral.
But I mean, when you're talking to people, and you've seen this firsthand on the street, right?
I interview idiots all the time.
But have you had experiences or that you can reflect on where you've been able to actually, certainly not on the more extreme end, but people that are more in the middle?
Of course.
Right. So what have you been able to identify is that tipping point where you're able to...
Yeah. There's two types of people in my video. So I said this in an interview recently where it's like basically, for one, if I didn't see people changing their minds, I probably would have given up like months ago. You know what I mean?
In the fetal position in the corner.
I would have. I totally would have. But like, basically my videos all come down to something pretty simple. Like I just said, I'm going out with facts and I'm coming up with some loud, relevant to the concept way to make that go more viral and get the facts out there more. But what I do is I present facts to people on the street or in, contained social experiments, and you see how they react. And you get two types of people. And I'd say it's about 50-50 in terms of the reactions. You get people who fully walk away and they're full-blown anti-Semites, and they hate the West, and they hate their parents, and they hate themselves, and they want the world to burn.
Yeah.
And those people have always existed. We can blame social media for giving them a voice, but there's always been people who want the world to burn. The world's full of more darkness than light. Or if not, God wouldn't have asked us to be a light in the darkness. If the world was bright all the time, you wouldn't need the Jewish people, and you wouldn't.
It's just light.
Yeah, you wouldn't need it. You wouldn't need it. So but then I would say half the time you interview people who are just they're the ones that are being propagandized. They're only seeing one side of the story. That's all they're seeing is the Free Palestine propaganda and the radical Islamist propaganda. That's all they're seeing. And when they're confronted with new information, they're quite humbled by it. And you see it in my videos all the time.
Yeah, you do.
All the time. I wish it was more, but, you go one person at a time. And I try to show that on camera. It's the best thing I think I can do, because one, it educates people watching, but two, I think it just gives people like a sense of like, right, not everybody's evil. Like some people are just, they hear genocide, they hear apartheid, and they're like, well, I'm against that. I mean, I hate that. That's awful. Like,